Departure of Darkness is a new upcoming classic survival horror inspired game that takes all of its inspiration predominantly from the golden era of survival horror, which would have been the 90s. When you look at 32-bit consoles with the Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation. The game sees you take on the role of a young woman by the name of Emma, who arrives at an airport terminal looking to pick up her brother from a flight, but quickly realises that the airport is on lockdown due to a series of disturbances, and it wouldn't take long to find out that the place is overrun with monsters and hideous creatures. And from what I can gather from having spent time playing the game is that there is some form of experimentation going on which has caused these monsters to rise. So with the zombies in question, you'll find that they come to life through the use of parasites that grow inside of cocoons, and upon making sounds or getting too close to them, their instant reaction is to find the nearest corpse lying on the floor and to attach itself to it, which will reanimate it in mere seconds, as a result zombifying the body. So in typical survival horror fashion, you'll have to equip yourself with whatever you can find, from weapons like pistols, shotguns, or anything available, and it does have access to all your typical resource and item inventory management systems, very like classic Resident Evil, where you'll have to find key cards, actual keys to open locked doors, solve a variety of different puzzles, engage with computer terminals and key card terminals in order to swipe or add in key codes to unlock and access different areas. But it won't be easy. Now, this current demo is in its early stages, and there has been a few alpha builds that were available, and there are other videos that you can find on YouTube that show different variations, and you can see some of the changes that have come into play. Now, from the version of the demo that I've played, there are some differences in it compared to other videos that I've seen. There are other areas that you can explore. Some items have been changed around that are in different places, and in some cases there is certain elements that are missing that make it more difficult to try and figure out where to go next. Now, because it's an early build, it's not to say that it's without its flaws. There are known bugs and glitches I found even with certain doors or areas that when you enter it, it just brings you back into the same room rather than bringing you back into the next area. Or there's some other discrepancies with some walk animations not working when you go into other areas. But I found as well, having played the game quite a few times already, is that when I get to a certain point, you'll find that you'll gain access to likes of a key for the duty free area, and you'll also gain access to a code through a note that you'll find that gives you the ability to input the code into a terminal or a card reader that's supposed to be within the security area. Now, in other demos that I've seen on YouTube, that key card reader is right beside the entrance shutter or door, so people can gain access to it. But for whatever reason, on my playthroughs, the key card reader is not even in the area at all. It's not even where it should have been. So I don't know whether that's a known glitch, whether it disappeared, or whether the developers have decided to change it, to maybe put it somewhere else, but I have been unable to find it, and as a result, that was as far as I could get. So I haven't been able to fully complete the demo as of this stage. But at the same time, it's not to say that that's all doom and gloom here. What we have right here is a very interesting game. Yeah, it does have its known issues. There are some other instances with the likes of walking into walls or even doors that sometimes you can get stuck, so the collision detection does seem a bit off in certain places, and that can also hamper your progress, especially if enemies are following you. But it makes a great use of fixed camera perspectives. The combat, while clunky and tricky to get used to, is serviceable. Upon aiming using the shoulder buttons, you have a laser pointer that you'll have to use, but you can aim it at different body parts. So if you aim it at the chest, while you can shoot, it will take a lot more bullets for the enemies to go down, but whereas if you aim for the head, you can knock them down in a few shots. But you have to make sure that you're accurate, because even again playing the demo, ammo is extremely limited. I was only able to have access to the pistol that you get at the beginning of the demo, and ammo is so hard to find in those early stages that there isn't enough to go around to dispatch dispatch all of the enemies that you will face at that point. So you'll need to find ways in order to avoid them or run around them if you can, which is hard to do in tight areas. So you'll have to lure them into more open areas so that you can run around them. But when we look at it, that's how games would have been played back in the day. When you ran out of ammo, you would have had to use distinctive tactics in order to take advantage of the situation or just to survive long enough so that you can get to the next room or the next area. And this is no different. If you like exploration and puzzle solving, you'll have more of the same here. There's definitely a lot to do, definitely a lot to explore, a lot to enjoy. It is dark, it is atmospheric, and the one thing I will say as of recording this video, currently we are being spoiled for choice with a lot of these upcoming games. I have covered other entries in previous videos with the likes of Phase Zero, Jungle Rush, to name but a few. In fairness, classic survival horror is coming back in form, as there are a lot of indie developers that really want to bring this nostalgia back to the forefront, and I think they're doing a really good job. And I think it's definitely a genre that needs more attention. While we do have the main industry heavy hitters with the likes of Resident Evil and the like, they'll never go back to classic horror, which is a pity, but unfortunately that's just the narrative of the way things have gone with video games. But that doesn't stop other developers and small companies to take that format and to use it for themselves. And we can see it with some of the games that we have here and that we've played recently, and it shows that if done right, you have potential for future masterpieces that feed into that nostalgia but also give you new experiences to enjoy and more ways to scare you. So if that's something you're after, then definitely try these games out, and also keep watching because I will be covering more of them in future videos. Definitely one to look out for. I will be keeping an eye on this, as should you. Again, there'll be a link both to the itch.io and Steam pages so that you can wishlist the game and even play the current demo that is available. I would definitely recommend it if you get the chance. With that being said, however, there are a lot more of these games that are creeping out of the woodwork that also need attention and deserve to be looked at also, which we can do here in this next video.